Word of Mouth Wednesday. We're here with a guest here that we've been talking about on the radio, or we've been talking with on the radio as well. Kevin Annett, who's in Toronto right now, and we've chosen a historic location here because Kevin Annett's work's been hidden from history. This is a place, William Mackenzie House, we're right near, that's been I guess remembered in history. What are your thoughts, or what do you know anything about William Lyon Mackenzie?
Well, he's a spiritual brother to me and anybody who believes in sovereignty, because he challenged the family compact. That was the church and colonial elite that ran Upper Canada, and actually they still run Canada. The financial oligarchies, the crown, the churches. And because this revolution was defeated at the time, the church had absolute authority, including to run the residential schools and cause this genocide. So we're standing here, I'm standing here as a spiritual son of William Lyon Mackenzie, saying it's time to carry on the revolution he started. And we're doing that by sharing the two-row wampum flag, which was the original flag treaty signed between our people and the indigenous nations of this land, saying we will live in equality. And we realize we can't live in equality under the Crown of England. We can't live in equality under this corporate system which says that the land is owned only by a few. And so we are reclaiming this moment and this space to say we have to make all of Canada sovereign land for all the people who live here. And that's really why I'm here, and this is why we're putting the Crown and the churches on trial for their genocide of Indigenous people. That was a genocide aimed at my people as well, and that's why we have to stand together.
For real, for real. Yeah, and we're here, we're with Kevin Annett, but we're also with Tohoke Tote, who's going to tell us about, well, some knowledge that he knows about. Well, have you ever heard of William Lyon Mackenzie?
Well, I can't say that I am an expert. Kevin seems to have taught me a little bit. William Lyon Mackenzie King I've studied. This is the best prime minister that we've had. A guy who wrote the Bank of Canada Act in '34. And he is quoted in many great democracies as saying, usury, once in control, will destroy any nation. And we're getting destroyed now from it. Thanks, well, we won't get into it, but William Lyon Mackenzie King, this guy's grandson. Grandson?
Yeah, grandson.
Yeah, his grandson.
Yep.
Go figure, 24 years as the prime minister and kept the bankers from us.
Yeah.
Till Trudeau. Justin, you're next.
For real, yeah, and we're at Mackenzie House, which is on Bond Street, which is actually really close to CKLN Radio, and that's where, I've interviewed both of you guys on the radio, and I was wondering, with what's been happening, what are your thoughts on the situation, like in Toronto with community radio and the possibilities, that it could be shut down by the license revoked?
Well, I was at Co-op Radio for 9 years, and they've done the same thing there. The corporate interests now can buy up community radio, and it's the same oligarchy that Mackenzie was fighting. It's this economic oligarchy that thinks that they have the right to control the airwaves. And so we've got to keep public airwaves, we've got to keep CKLN strong and community owned, not owned by corporate interests of the government. And that's one of our mouthpieces, so we have to fight hard to keep that in the hands of the people.
I agree.
For real, yeah. There's been a recent notice that's been sent out to all the members of CKLN with a something about an the document was called R&R, and I was hoping it would be, rest and relax, but this is rules and regulations. New rules and regulations are coming, and do you, Kevin, I know just because you've been involved with community radio, do you have any thoughts on, what they're actually going to be doing with community radio?
Well, if it's anything like what happened at Vancouver Co-op Radio, they brought in the same thing. 3 years ago, there was a secret deal between the staff at Co-op Radio and Jim Pattison Media Mogul Interests to basically help buy up the station. They never told anybody. They violated their own rules and ethics by not telling anybody about this secret corporate acquisition and funding. And so it sounds like if it's at all like what happened in Vancouver, they bring in rules whereby, for example, the staff can't be criticized anymore. Anything that's said on the air can cause the immediate removal of a program or the cancellation of a program. I mean, this is total dictatorship. So if it's the same thing that Freya Zaltz was doing in Vancouver, this is a national phenomenon, and it's being organized by the feds in conjunction with corporate media interests.
The corporatocracy.
Yep, corporatocracy.
That's a better word for it.
Yeah.
Right. And what Mackenzie was trying to do, I guess, was to break away from the Crown. And he was trying to, the family compact was connected with everything that was going on in Europe and, controlled by, people with definite connections there. What are your thoughts on having Canada as a republic? Because I know, like Kevin, you had the Republic of Canada was a idea or hope for the future. What are your thoughts on the republic?
We need it. We got to stop this allegiance to false foreign jurisdictional powers that came and imposed themselves without any legitimacy here on the land and on the people here. We need to declare a republic that's federated so that all the different indigenous nations can be
And independent from England.
Independent from England.
Finally.
And corporate interests.
Finally.
We can federate everybody into a whole union of equal nations, and I think that's what we need to do. One way we do it is yesterday we were right down the street here at all the churches demanding that they be brought to trial for their murder of kids in residential schools. And that's what we're trying to do in London in September. And we hope that here in Toronto there'll be similar actions and forums at the same time, so that the survivors of these schools and others who are being harmed today can come forward and name the names. And we put these people on trial. And we establish common law courts where we can do that. We don't trust the courts of the Crown.
Admiralty courts, all of them.
Forget them all. We got to
Banks and corporations.
We got to do what my ancestors did in Ireland, and is set up our own courts under the nose of the British and say we don't recognize them anymore. We're our own nation now. That's what we need to do here in Canada.
Yeah, all you need to do is follow the two-road wampum to us. That's it.
Two-road wampum.
The two-road wampum. Goshwenta.
For real, yeah. We're speaking with Tohoke Tote and Kevin Annan. And Kevin Annan, I know you're also known as Eagle Strong Voice. I was wondering, how did you get that name?
That was given to me by Chief Louis Daniels in Winnipeg when he adopted me into the Turtle Clan in the Anishinaabe Nation, gave me that name. He said I was to carry that name to my people because I couldn't do the work in his community, he couldn't do the work in mine, but together, walking like the two-row wampum, working in each of our worlds to bring about that sovereignty and justice. So that was an authorization that he gave me to do that work.
Okay, and what is going on with your tour in Canada? Because I know, well, for instance, your most recent press release has to do with your upcoming appearance in Hamilton. What's the story with that?
Well, what just happened was the Hamilton police notified the organizers of the Mohawk College that they were going to send an undercover police operative in to monitor what I said. And, let's be clear, and that happens all the time, but the fact that they were notifying them was clear intimidation. And so I wrote to this policeman and said, we're telling the world about this, and we want to put you on notice that we consider this an attempt to obstruct our investigation at the behest of your employers, the Crown of England and the Government of Canada. So people want to follow more of that. It's hiddenfromhistory.org.
For real. And what's your site?
Dahoget.ws. They stole everything they got. Everything. Yeah. Throughout history.
So he came here after he was exiled?
Yeah.
Okay.
Moved back here.
First mayor. I didn't know he was the first mayor.
He was the first mayor, and he was exiled after that, right? Because he was first mayor.
But he fled to the United States?
Yeah, he fled to the United States, and he was arrested in the United States too. He spent time in jail. So it wasn't just all smooth sailing. But the first place he fled was called Navy Island, which was an island in between the U.S. and Canada, which is right near Niagara Falls, right near the falls.
Yeah, okay.
And he was trying to establish that as his own independent territory, his own independent country. And then I guess somehow he ended up on the American side, and then in a jail, and he had a pretty crazy life from the history. Judging from the history books, that's one guy that the history books have been written about, William Lyon Mackenzie. And the City of Toronto controls that property. And next time we'll try to get permission, next time we film there. Word up. All right, word up. Hidden from History continues. We're right here at Ryerson campus now. We've got another person that's remembered in history, Egerton Ryerson. He's got a statue here. We've got a whole university named after him. And we've got Kevin Annan of Hidden from History here. Kevin Annan, have you heard about Egerton Ryerson?
Yeah, the guy's a real bastard, actually. First of all, he was commissioned by the Crown to come over here to keep an eye on the rebellion in Lower Canada and Upper Canada. But as part of that, he initially was an ally of William Lyon Mackenzie, but then he cut off ties with him and broke ranks and started to denounce him because he was critical of the church. And Ryerson was a big Methodist church preacher and official. And he eventually established the plan. He had a plan to educate the Indians. And he established the original plan for the Indian residential schools in Ontario. So this is a guy who had the master plan for how to assimilate, which is a polite way of saying wipe out Indigenous culture. And to name a university after, I think, is quite ridiculous. And I think we should rename the university according to somebody from the indigenous nations, one of our heroes, and not one of the establishments.
For real, yeah, and thanks a lot, Kevin, for getting the information out that you've been getting out. What is your thoughts on universities, and how has your work been taken at the universities around Canada?
Well, universities are big corporations, they're like churches, but within it there's a lot of, actually I get the best response from high school and college students. A lot of groundswell of discontent and rebellion these days in universities all over the world that I go, but especially Canada. And I'm really hopeful every time I come to a place like this that students can use the time they have to do the research and the organizing and the other stuff that's needed for our movement. So, thank you all.
For real. Yeah, thanks a lot, Kevin Annett. Check out the work, hiddenfromhistory.org, hiddennolonger.com. Word up, word out. Well, check out the event too, Kevin Annett speaking at Ryerson University.